Welcome to Life in Calgary, Alberta. I'm Patrick Murray. Today we're talking about the latest and greatest City of Calgary real estate stats as of the end of November 2024. So this means it's December and we're talking about the latest and greatest to let you know what's happening. But before we do that, if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything there is about what it's like to eat, sleep, breathe, live, and play in Calgary, Alberta, then please hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you get notified every single time I release a new video. Now, I've lived in several major centers in my adult life, but I settled in Calgary way back in 2001. And not only that, I've been a real estate professional here since 2010. And all of this means I have some specialized knowledge about the city of Calgary and the surrounding bedroom communities. So if you are considering making a move to the city of Calgary or you're considering selling your home, please feel free to reach out to me, send me a text, email, or a phone call. I will absolutely get back to you. Okay, guys, let's do this. Let's talk about the latest and greatest City of Calgary real estate stats right after this. All right, so let's jump in here. So today we're going to talk about the latest real estate statistics for the City of Calgary for four different property types. We're going to talk about the detached sector, we're going to talk about semi-detached, we're going to talk about row, and we're going to talk about the apartment sector. And this is all data as of the end of November of 2024. This is the latest and greatest data we have. Yes, we are into December, but of course, December isn't over, so we don't have that data yet. So this is the latest and greatest to let you know what's going on. And we're talking about benchmark pricing here. So benchmark pricing is a far more stable way of talking about pricing than median or average prices, which can be skewed if there were, say, an unusual amount of expensive sales or lower price sales in any given month. So benchmark pricing takes into account the average property in each community and then puts it all together to create these terrific statistics. And like I said, it is much more stable. So before we jump in here, Calgary's housing market is following typical season trends, and we have seen activity slowing compared to the fall, but year over year demand does remain relatively strong. Now, this shift lies in the supply. And our inventories are now sitting at 4,352 units in November, and it's a notable increase from the 3,000 units that we had reported last year. And despite the gains in inventory, though, it's important to note that our inventory levels remain below long-term trends for the month. So this is for all inventory types. And supply improvements also vary significantly by location, the price range, and the property type. And it's important also to note that while these more balanced conditions are promising for potential buyers, many market segments still do favor the seller. So you're going to see when we're looking at this chart, for example, we're going to jump in and start talking about the detached sector of the market. And you see that this chart says we're in balanced territory, but just in the balanced territory. Because remember, it takes into account all the neighborhoods within the city and puts it together. So some neighborhoods are strong sellers market, others are, maybe more or less a buyer's market, and others are balanced. But altogether puts it together into balanced territory. So in the detached sector, before we jump in, 85% of the supply in the detached sector was priced above $600,000. And I found that very, very interesting. So looking at this absorption rate, is sitting at 46.68%. And that means as of November 2024, we had 1,853 listings available for sale, with 865 of them, or 46.68% of them, being sold in November. And that's why we're sitting in this balanced territory. Anything over 50% is a seller's market, 30 to 50% is balanced, and below 30% is a buyer's market. And we can come down here and we can see this benchmark price. So the benchmark price for a detached home in the city of Calgary right now sits at $750,100. Now this is down just 0.5% from last month. Year over year though, this is up 7.25% from November of last year. So November last year, we're sitting here at this $699,400. And anywhere you see black is the market going up, blue is coming down. So you can see in this benchmark price trend chart, you see in August, September, October, November, we've been easing down slightly each month. And but this isn't prices dropping, guys. This is what we call seasonal softening, and it's something we see every year because we are a wintering city and people don't tend to buy as many houses at this time of the year. So this is normal. It would be more scary if we saw sharp drop-offs, but we're only seeing like 0.5% last month, 0.42% the month before, 0.72 the month prior, and before that 0.68%. So if we saw sharp drops, then it'd be a little more concerning, but it simply isn't the case. Looking at the benchmark price trend, we can see from 2015 to 2024, if you bought 2015, you would have seen a 44.85% return. And so what that means is in 2015, prices were sitting at $516,933. And here we are now sitting at $748,791. Now, I know you're looking at this number and saying, I thought you just said the benchmark price was $750,100. Well, it is because this particular chart averages in January through to November. So it takes the average, but of course, December isn't done yet. So we don't have all of the data. We're missing 1 month. But overall, for the month, yes, we are indeed sitting at 750,100 for the month. Now let's pan down here. Again, showing the actives in this hold. So actives, 1,853 actives. Month to month, this is down 15.73% from last month. But year to date, this is up nearly 30% from November 2023. And as I had already mentioned, there's quite a change. And then in the amount of solds, 865 solds. Now this is down 19.23% from October. Year to year, though, we're up 5.75%. If we look at the days on market, we're sitting at 34 days on market. Last November, we were sitting at 32, and in December is 34. We're still within range. There's that seasonal softening happening, and so that's pretty common. And then down here, we can see the market distribution. The majority of those sales taking place in that $600,000 to $700,000 range, followed by that $700,000 to $800,000 range, then that $500,000 to $600,000 range, then that $600,000 to $700,000 range, that $1 million to $1.5 million range, and then that $900,000 to $1 million range, and so on and so forth. So now we're going to look at the semi-detached sector of the market. So the benchmark prices here, guys, I have to tell you, has ranged throughout the city. Great swings. So, for example, in the inner city, the city center district of Calgary, the benchmark price was $926,800. While meanwhile, in the East District of the city was $409,300. So you can really see that sway across the city in what a semi-detached home cost you. Looking at the absorption rate here, sitting at 47.66%. So this is just into balanced market territory. So we're just barely out of the seller's market. And that's because as of November 2024, we had 363 listings with 173 of them, or 47.66% of them selling in November. And we look at the benchmark price here. Again, I mentioned those sways again, that roughly 400,000 up to $925,000 roughly. So that great sway. But overall, throughout the city, the benchmark price for a semi-detached home sits at $675,100. Now, month to month, citywide, this is down 0.28% from last month, but year over year, this is up 7.71% from last November. And we can see here on this chart, in November last year, it was sitting at $626,800, and here we are sitting at $675,100. Again, you can see that little bit of seasonal softening happening. There's no panic here. This is normal. We expect to see this. And don't worry, guys, prices are going to take off in the new year. And I keep telling everyone, now is when the opportunity is available. Now there's inventory to look at. Now there's less opportunity. And now prices are a little softer. But in the new year, it's going to take off and things are going to change all around. So now is the opportunity. Let's look at this benchmark price trend chart for the last 10 years. 2015, a semi-detached home would cost you around $412,800. Here we are sitting at that $668,264. Again, guys, averaging in January through to November. of course, December not done. Let's come look at the actives and sold listings. So actives, we had 363 actives. This is down 6.92% from last month, but year over year, it's up 33.46% from last November. And the amount of solds sitting at 173 this past month. So month over month, this is down 8.95% from October, but year over year, this is up 23.57% from November of last year. And it's because also we have that much more inventory as well. Average days on market sitting at 31. Last November, we were sitting at 28 again. More tight supply at that time, but we're still within that range. 28 days in October, 31 right now. It was 28 last October and 33 in December. So nothing unusual going on here. And wow, look at the market distribution here. The majority of the sales coming in at $500,000 to $600,000 range, followed by the $600,000 to $700,000 range, and that $400,000 to $500,000 range. And then that 7 to 1.5 million kind of looked after the rest of the market overall. All right, so now we're going to talk about row houses, and for those of you unfamiliar with that term, that's a townhome. So first off, row prices in the city of Calgary really have ranged again, just like the semi-detached sector. So row prices in the city center were the highest, sitting at around $620,000, while the northeast and the east districts were the only areas to report benchmark prices below $400,000. So let's jump in. So here we are, their listing absorption rate here sitting at 50.46%, just barely into seller's market territory. So that's because as of November 2024, we had 654 listings available for sale with 330 of them, or 50.46% of those listings selling. Now, the benchmark price is sitting at $454,300. Month over month, down 0.5% from last month. Year over year, though, up 6.57%. So you can see, in November we were sitting at 426,300, and now here we are sitting at this $454,300. And again, just like the other charts, some seasonal softening happening here. Nothing out of the ordinary, something to be expected. And you can see our high in the market was sitting in June at $464,600. So that's that sector there. Let's look at the benchmark price trend chart for the last 10 years. Would have cost you roughly $323,000 in 2015 to buy a property. And if you went to look at now, we're sitting at this $452,882. Again, averaging January to November. And that's an increase of 40.21%. Now we'll come down to the active and sold listings. The active 654 actives last month, month to month, this is down 16.58% from last month. Year over year, it's up 60.29% from November of last year. This sector of the market was really hot last year. Very little supply. Month to month, let's look at the solds. 330, this is down 6.52% from October. Year over year, it's up 23.6% from November 2023. Days on market sitting at 35, 31 in October. Last year, sitting at 22 days on market. Again, this is a very tight sector last market, so we have had a fair amount of gain in inventory here. The market distribution, majority of those sales sitting in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, followed by that $500,000 to $600,000 range, then that $300,000 to $400,000 range, and then that $600,000 to $700,000 range, and so on and so forth. Okay, now we're going to look at the City of Calgary apartment sector. Now, sales in November slowed over last year's record high, but they were still 47% higher than the long-term trends. Now, supply here has improved for units priced above $200,000, but most gains have been in the $300,000 to $500,000 price range in the apartment sector. So let's jump in, looking at the listing absorption rate. Wow, just barely into buyer's market territory. We've had a lot of gain in supply here. This was also a tight sector, but if you're looking for a home and you're finding those other sectors of the market pricey, guys, there's opportunity in the apartment sector right now. So as of November, we had 1,482 listings with 429 of them, or 28.95% of those listings being sold in November 2024. The benchmark price sitting at $337,800. Now, month over month, this is down 1.14% from October, but year to year, this is up 8.93% from last November. And you can see last November, we were sitting at $310,100. And here we are sitting at $337,800. Now, again, you can see that little seasonal softening happening here. Let's see, our high was in August, sitting at $346,500. So, just like I said, just like the other sectors of the market, just that seasonal softening, nothing out of the ordinary. But supply is really good here right now. So if you need to buy, if you want to buy, again, just like I mentioned earlier, I think now is the opportunity. Here's the 10-year benchmark price history. In 2015, would have cost you $292,458 for an apartment condominium on average. And here we are sitting at this $336,527 up to 2024, again averaging January to February, and that's a 15% increase. So we had a huge oversupply from 2016 to 2020 in this sector of the market, like huge. Like I'm talking about 10 months worth of supply. So now we're sitting at around 3 months worth of supply, but you can see that prices have nicely recovered. In fact, we've surpassed our 2015 pricing. So let's look at the actives and sold listings. The actives, 1,482 actives. Month over month is down almost 7% at 6.97%, but year over year it's up 68.03%. Again, that increase in supply in this sector of the market. The amount of sales, we had 429 sales last month. This is down 23.39% from last October. Year over year, it's also down 23.6, pardon me, from last month, I should say. It was down from last month. Year over year, we're down 23.67% from November 2023. Average days on market. Well, guys, with that huge increase in supply, you can see there's a lot of competition between sellers right now. So it's taking a little bit longer to sell homes. So we're sitting at 45 days for the average property to sell right now. It was 29 last November, and you can see it's been trending up since June, which is reflective of the pricing starting to soften in this sector as well over time. Market distribution sitting at 300,000 to 400,000 is where the majority of the sales are taking place. So I'll divide that $200,000 to $300,000 range, and then that $400,000 to $500,000 range, so on and so forth. Guys, that is the market. The take-home message: now may be the time to jump in. So do think about it. Talk with your real estate professional. Talk with your mortgage broker. We are seeing Bank of Canada lower rates. It doesn't relate directly to how mortgage rates come down when the Bank of Canada lowers their rate. However, we are seeing better things happening with mortgages. You can get a 5-year for a pretty decent price right now. And, if you're brave, like I am, you can have a variable rate and ride the rate down as it comes down. There is another decision by the Bank of Canada coming up here this month. So we are expecting another rate cut. And hopefully this will help all consumers in so many various sectors of our economy in Canada, but we are really hoping that this is going to be reflective in mortgage rates down the road here as things begin to change up.
As I said earlier, if you are considering a move to the city of Calgary or considering selling your home and you would like some assistance, please feel free to reach out to me. Send me a text, email, or a phone call. I will absolutely get back to you so you can live your life in Calgary, Alberta.